Hi, welcome to Glazing with Amaco. I'm Kara, and this week for our live stream, I have been trying out some different things. So I have a new glazing technique to share with you all. I am calling it Jupiter Moon. And it was inspired by a post several years ago by Angelica Prittle on our Amaco Cone 5-6 group. And she thanked Camille Hoffman for the inspiration for this. Now, I have changed things up a little bit from her original combo, but it's a really beautiful combination, and you may have seen it already. So I'm going to show you a little close-up before I get started. And let me see here. This is the combination at Cone 5. Let me make sure I'm not getting any reflection. Oh, too much reflection. It's hard to show, but this has an iridescence in the spirals. So that's one of them. You can see that reflective iridescence in this as well. It's always so complicated trying to show the beauty of these highly reflective surfaces. They are gorgeous. So I'm going to show you how I glaze these. First up, I'm going to show you how I glazed this one. Before I get started, do we have any questions or comments for me? We are getting close to the end of the year. We'll have one more live stream this year, and then it's going to be into January before I get to any new combinations. But I'm going to be focusing on techniques, on glazing combos, and how-to and troubleshooting. So if you have any comments, please drop them in the comment bar. If you are viewing this after the event, I will answer you offline. But thank you all for joining me today. So let me go to my playback. So I start with this round bowl, and this was a pressed bowl. I use PC12 Blue Midnight. I'm going to apply 2 generous coats of Blue Midnight. For those of you who've used Blue Midnight, you know that it is more or less a black glaze, that where it is thick, it develops a blue float. It's a really beautiful glaze, but it does require a very heavy application to create the blue. So I let the first coat dry. When it's dry to the touch, even though you can see it's a little darker there, but I could touch it, it didn't come off on my fingers, I apply the second coat. And again, I'm reloading the brush frequently to make sure that I get a nice, generous coat of glaze. Until that glaze is dry, I count that as 1 coat. So sometimes people ask me because they see that I go back over things. It's 1 coat. So now that that second coat is dry, I'm going to use PC21 Arctic Blue. Sorry, that was a really quick shot of the Arctic Blue. And Arctic Blue is a mostly opaque glaze, but it does some beautiful things when layered. Very, very light blue. So I coat the entire piece with the Arctic Blue. Two coats of Arctic Blue, and then I use, I did not show you, I use my PC41 Verte Lustre And I'm going to just do some swirls and dots and lines all over the plate. And I do roughly 2 coats of the dots and the lines and the swirls. And I'm just doing kind of abstract doodles. Instead of a brush, you could always use an underglaze applicator, little squeezy bottle to just put dots or draw on it. You just kind of fling it on there. So I was just playing, doing lots of designs. Sherry says, that's beautiful. Thank you. You're going to have so much fun doing this. Marie DeMarco, good morning, Marie. Anne, I will answer about your toasted sage in a little bit. So, like I said, just doodling with the glaze. And again, this glaze that I'm using on top is PC41 Verte Lustre. And Verte Lustre and Arctic Blue are one of my favorite combinations. Either with one, they can be used with either one over the other. They just give really great effects, kind of an iridescence. So I glazed this all over, kind of filled in, didn't want to have too much open space, just getting little bits everywhere. And then when that was dry, I fired it to cone 6. Let me do my close-up once again so you can see. So Rachel says, I'm late. Is the base only 2 coats Arctic Blue? No, it is 2 coats of Blue Midnight first. So I start with my Blue Midnight. I add my Arctic Blue PC21, 2 coats on top. And then lastly, it's drizzles of Verte Lustre PC41. So it's all 3 of those. And that's what creates this really rich texture. So I'm going to go back, bring this in. So you can see in this that there's almost like a hare's fur effect going on where the Arctic is over the Blue Midnight. Let me see, that I think is where you see sort of a speckled look where the Blue Midnight is showing through the Arctic, and so you get dots, and then you get this lustrous, almost metallic sort of effect from the Verte. So you have different blues and a little bit of green going on in here, and I really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun, super easy. And I also wanted to show you, I did it at cone 5. Go back to close up. And this is at cone 5. And you still get that same effect, the same luster, the same light blues and dark blues, and the same hare's fur effect of the Arctic over Blue Midnight. And because I wanted to make sure that I got a lot of information for y'all, I also did it on a mug so that you can see where it flows in on a vertical surface, and it just came out absolutely gorgeous. So the inside is just Blue Midnight, and then the outside is 2 coats of Arctic over the Blue Midnight. So 2 coats of Blue Midnight on the outside, 2 coats of Arctic over the entire outside, and then I did spirals and dots of Verte Lustre over it. And look at how you get this like drizzle, almost glowy kind of blue. Really, really fun. Now I also have, I love how it looks on the mug too. Isn't that fun? So I really was surprised to see how it worked. Now this is cone 5. You might get more movement at cone 6. I also decided to try it with some different bases. So I tried it over PCF 3, which is Midnight Run. Hang on. And it's beautiful, but you don't get quite as much. So I would say do a lot more with the Verte Lustre, and it did run a little bit more. This PCF moves a little bit more than Blue Midnight. I also tried it over Deep Sea Celadon, and you get some different sort of cloud effects. You still get that sort of lustrous, reflective surface. So you can try it over different Celadons and see what you like. So this is what the original that I saw that Angelica Preitel made was over a Celadon, although it wasn't Deep Sea, it might have been Storm. And then this was my test plate with Blue Midnight, and this was where I decided this is the combo that I really liked. So, going back to Ann Bowers was asking, my toasted sage has rough spots. Any suggestions? Send me a photo on Messenger, and I'll see what I can do. If it's, make sure that you are reaching the correct amount of heat work and that the glaze is thick enough. It can come out a little rough if it's too thin. Oh, Maria says, I don't suppose anyone has been taking notes, just joined in. So this is our Jupiter Moon combination. And just to recap, 2 coats of PC12 Blue Midnight, 2 coats of PC21 Arctic Blue, and then swirls and dribbles and dots of PC41 Verte Lustre. What was the Midnight Run combo? You really liked that one? So this is exactly the same. Let's go back. So Maria was asking, this is the Midnight Run combo. The only difference between this and this is that instead of Blue Midnight, I used PCF3 Midnight Run as the base coat. So this was 2 coats of PCF3 Midnight Run, 2 coats of PC21 Arctic Blue, and then swirls of PC41 Verte Lustre. And then this was with a base coat of Celadon instead of Blue Midnight. So you can do different bases with this, but just do a base coat of something that you really like with the Arctic Blue over the whole thing, and then drizzles of Verte Lustre. Cone 5 and Cone 6 both work great. As I was saying, this is Cone 6. This is Cone 5. They both look fantastic. You get a little bit more movement on vertical surfaces at 6 than you do at 5, but they're both beautiful combos. And then this is my mug at Cone 5. So on a vertical surface, Cone 5 is spectacular, not too much run. It did not run off, but I did keep my Verte Lustre fairly high. So you can see I have my code on the bottom. I kept my all of my Verte Lustre spirals were above the halfway mark on the mug, so they were all here or higher. Any other questions for me or comments today? I know this was a quick one, but I really enjoyed doing this. I'm going to do some more, and I'm also going to post some of these in our Amaco Cone 5-6 group. And if you decide to try out this combo, I would love for you to tag us, especially if you're doing this on Instagram. Tag us with hashtag Jupiter Moon and hashtag HowIAmaco. And I'd love to see your combos. This was a lot of fun to make, and I love how it kind of looks like the photos that we've seen of the bottom of Jupiter and some of the planets. Very swirly, very blue, a little bit of texture going on. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me on my glazing adventures this week, and I hope that you have a